This is Radio Havana, Cuba.
This is Radio Pyongyang of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
This is Moscow.
David VanSunder on the line. David, are you there?
I am here. I'm not sure if I've got any volume, though. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. I hear you guys all perfectly.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, you wrote some predictions on your website, vansunder.com, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit more about them. First, tell us about your podcast, you and your wife, and your podcasting. Just give us a little background.
Well, first off, right now we're actually kind of in a hiatus because my wife has just started a new job as a director of rehabilitation over at a skilled nursing facility. So right now we're not actually podcasting. I'm just getting ready to get back into it probably in the next month. So, but we had a health podcast, Being Healthy TV, and Being Healthy for Busy People. So we're doing audio and video. And I was doing a finance podcast, which I have decided to pretty much just skip out on and just do something completely different. And I haven't really decided exactly which way I'm going on that one right now.
So the financial podcast is done? Is that correct? The personal finance?
It is done. I mean, didn't you hear what happened to the economy? I mean, there's no need for financial podcasts anymore.
No,
but not seriously. I just it got to the point where I just wasn't really interested in doing it anymore. I mean, the audience was, it was on the smallish side for that one. It just, the other stuff seemed to do much better. And since I was starting to get a little bit tired of the subject matter because everything's been so doom and gloom lately, that I wanted to move on to something a little bit more interesting.
Gotcha. So,
strawberries are loud. I'm sorry.
Okay, guys.
Sorry.
So we read a couple of his predictions, and we wanted to talk about them,
well,
especially in
Visio. Well, he wanted to respond to our responses.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. I'll see if I remember what was being said. I agree with some of the stuff that Rick had been saying earlier. And I don't remember what he said anymore now, but I think it was like an hour and a half ago or something. But
yes.
I'll just go off of what I was kind of thinking that I didn't put in the post because it got too long. And I was thinking that the reason I was saying that podcasting is not going to grow too much is I still think that podcasting, the way we all think of podcasting as RSS and all that type of thing, is still too difficult for most people. They just don't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
And until it's something that's going to be really easy where, you just talk to your mom and say, hey, look, I've got this podcast thing. She's like, oh, podcasting, of course. I'll just go on iTunes and grab that.
Yeah, my mom doesn't watch my podcast either. Okay.
Well, actually, I got my mom. She was watching all of them. So actually, I had them, and she would actually take them to my grandmother so she could watch them. So.
Yeah, there's another reason my mom doesn't watch my podcast. It has nothing to do with
that.
Nothing
that
to
might not
do
be a
with
good
actually
idea.
watching it.
Sorry, go ahead.
But basically, that's, I think, the big sticking point. And I was saying that I think it's going to grow slower than the internet. And the reason is because I think it's really mainly tech-savvy people that are really into the podcasting thing right now, and not the other people. And right now, I think the internet's growing faster overseas than it is, here. Because you got all the Chinese people who are now coming online, and all these other third world countries where they're coming up. And so they're not going to be picking up, what I think of as more the English podcasts, although we kind of have a lot of people in Japan that are watching ours. But, most podcasts are not going to be of interest to people in other countries because of the language barrier. And that's where I see most of the growth is going to be. So if you were going to be doing a foreign language podcast, that might be a great way to grow. But I just don't see a lot of growth right now unless we have something the equivalent of Roku or something like that, but for audio, which right now we don't really have unless you're doing iPhone or something like that, which is still kind of geeky for most people to say, hey, I'm going to stream podcasts over my phone. So it just needs to be something that's simpler. There needs to be some way to break it down. And maybe what Rick was talking about being able to have Google kind of get in there and give us an easy way to get the content we want, because iTunes does a poor job of it, and it's doing a poorer job of it since they've upgraded.
They've done a really poor job of it.
Yeah, and I think iTunes, it's the same thing with the App Store, right? I mean, you start adding more and more content, and they're not doing a very good job of filtering, like, what the best content is.
No, not at all.
And we really need that, like, someone or something to step into the whole curator role to identify good content and help people find it and use it more easily.
Yeah, and I know that we had all these different podcast directories that tried to do that, but none of them really worked.
Right.
I mean, not really.
Well, it was very much, they were the Yahoo and Alta Vista of the .com days, right? I mean, they were, back in the .com days, we had 50 different search engines we used to have to submit all of our content to until Google came along and kind of became this, like, super search engine that everybody could understand and use. And I think podcasting and videocasting very much need that kind of high level filter or curator to help identify the valuable content.
And I agree with that. And your prediction where you made that you said that Google would step in and do something like that this year for video and maybe audio, I think that'd be great if it happened. But I just feel like Google has their self spread so thin. I don't know if they'll be able to do that.
Yeah. We were joking about because part of what we used for the predictions was having people call into Google Voice to provide the so we could run the MP3 of the prediction, and the transcriptions from Google Voice were absolutely
so
horrible.
ridiculous.
Like, you could not. We were joking, maybe we should just read the transcription instead of playing
the transcriptions. Will you show them to me? Yeah.
Instead of playing the audio file, because you would not be able to figure out what they were talking about at all.
It's so bad.
Google Voice is awesome. I've never deleted a single one of their transcriptions because they're all too funny to delete any of them.
They're totally spam things you could send out later for stuff. But I think Betsy Richter actually came through as Tammy, which cracked me up. I thought that was good.
Betsy came through as Tammy?
Yeah, somehow.
She doesn't have the bangs to be a Tammy.
She doesn't have the bangs to be a Tammy either.
Just saying. It's important to note these things. Betsy was so, and I think valid, that she sent me basically her own vague transcription in email. She just wanted to make sure it was right. And I'd really love to compare it to the transcription that I saw myself on the monitor, sorry. I'd love to compare it to the transcription from the Google Voice.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a lot of work, but it's a step in the right direction.
So, and you talked about video and streaming.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that, yep.
Which I thought was, I think that's obvious that, I mean, I don't mean that as your prediction, but I think the rise of Hulu and...
I heart Hulu.
I know you do.
Well, mainly Hulu. I think there's...
I don't care.
I mean, there's Netflix online and others, but that's huge. People are just... and newer generations, I don't think even know what a TV is at this point. But don't you think that will drive more individual content? Or you make mention of the fact that larger entities will come into that, and they already have.
Okay, I'll kind of elaborate, and it's pretty similar to what we were talking about before, in that there's no good way to find out about the content. And I think that if a lot of people come in, I haven't used a Roku, but I know that using like Boxy, there's no really easy way to get in there and see what all the different content is that's available. So it makes it kind of difficult. If you have a whole bunch of people swarm in, it's going to be kind of like blogging after a while, where you just couldn't find the stuff for a while.
The noise factor.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's too much.
And I just think that's going to be a big factor, because a lot of the video is even worse than the audio was. I mean, it's just because the quality is so much harder. I think
he's talking about
get
meme PDX there. I don't know. Maybe.
I like
No.
We're funny.
Well, you moved into video with Tally's. And
that takes a lot of work.
Does take a lot of work.
I don't do half as good a job as I wish I did. But that took a lot of work just to get to that point. And most people are just doing off webcams, and I just think that people are going to look at that, and they're going to catch 10 or 20, and they're all going to be webcams. And they're just going to say, you know what, this is lame. I don't even need to bother. I'm not even going to look through this. And what's going to surface, it's going to be a lot of the stuff where iTunes will just surface up all this stuff, and it all tends to be like NPR, other major producers, and they just submerge even good stuff. I mean, you have to be a pretty big independent, like a Revision 3, before you get featured on there. And that doesn't really help, that new content to get out there where people can see it. So I figure that's going to just bring the people already out there doing TV, and they're just going to end up in video podcasting, which that's not really going to do us any good as consumers or as producers.
So you bring up a good point. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crazy Talk, January 2nd, 2000.
It's the final Crazy
I'm sorry.
Talk.
No.
I'm sorry for the chat room that's really bitchy at me right now. 2010. Oh, look, I'm already in Crazy Talk mode.
Shouldn't you be pointing the camera at you?
I should be. I should have my camera on.
Turn it on.
So the interesting thing, I will, but you guys are cuter than I am. Although I have a better hat.
You have a very nice hat.
Yes, I do.
I think everyone in this room
So
can
I
be
think
happy about that.
the two things that he mentions is iTunes. You see the NPR, the Adam Carollas, the previous broadcast people who get to the top, and you also have, from the live streaming standpoint, because we're always looking at numbers, right? We're looking at total numbers, and we brought in great numbers for 30-hour day, and we had help from our provider.
30 hours, no sleep, all for charity. Of course we brought in great numbers.
But we also were
love
featured
that
on main
tagline.
pages. And
Because
the interesting
it was
thing,
awesome.
But the interesting thing is, if you take a celebrity, like a rapper or something like
no.
that, and put them in front of a webcam on their computer,
Crappy
they're going to
fucking
drive.
webcam.
They're going to
Oh.
drive really, really good numbers. When does that change? In other words, I mean, I can have a low quality video chat with some
MC.
exactly, some
Dougal,
celebrity.
blah, blah, blah.
And the
What?
fans
I don't
just
know.
gravitate
I hate
there.
celebrities.
No, I know, but the fans gravitate there. Whereas if you're producing really, really good content, what happens? I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's some. I
Have
think
you
it's a
seen
situation
that?
we're gonna have problems with for a long time. I mean, that's exactly what I see. I mean, there's a lot of people I go out there and I watch their stuff. And I think, wow, it's awesome. There must be tons of people watching. And then you find out that they've got like 200 people that watch. And then you see somebody who's like like you said, some
Goober.
person like Ashton Kutcher, which I mean,
Right.
Goober, exactly.
some
yes.
people think he's awesome, but I don't get it. And then he'll get 1 million people follow him on Twitter, and they'll maybe 10,000 people watch him talking to, I don't know, his cat or whatever he's doing. I really don't care.
This cat. Oh, I like you. You're
Yeah,
funny.
But I really I don't care what he's doing, but everyone else seems to care because we just kind of follow celebrities and, royalty and that kind of thing. That's just what people seem to be wired
It's a societal
to do.
issue.
So is that a generational problem though? Because
No, it's
those
not
are,
generational. It's societal.
Let me. Here's the idea: is that those are all people that come out of movies and broadcast and television from old media. Now, once generation changes and all the media goes to the web, putting people on webcams is not going to work anymore. Once that generation essentially dies out or goes out of vogue.
You know
Do you
what?
understand?
Here's the thing. The people, like my parents' generation, they follow celebrities.
No, I
You're talking
know
about
that.
young kids, teenagers still completely
But celebrities
involved.
are being built on the web.
No. People are still completely involved in what they see on television and what they see in the movies. And that's not going to change unless someone makes some really significant, dives in and just really, really changes the status quo because people are obsessed with celebrities.
But the next
you've got newspapers are failing like crazy, but you've got multi-million-dollar gossip rags. It's
Right.
ridiculous. Celebrity sells, and
But
that's
the next
not
generation
changing.
of celebrities is coming
They're
from the
still
web.
no, they're not coming
The
from the
next
web.
generation of actors
They're
are coming
not
from the web.
coming from the web.
Really?
Maybe they might find them on the web and put them in the mainstream.
Right.
But
No,
they
that's
are
what I'm
not.
talking
No,
about.
no. The web is not making. You've got
No.
because there's still a big difference. You've got internet celebrities and you've got real celebrities,
Right.
and they're not the same thing. And there's no two ways about it.
And you don't think that's
You
going to
ask-
change?
I don't think it's going to change in the next
Not
5
anytime
years.
soon.
Not in the next 5 years. Maybe not in the next 10.
I think we'll reach the point where everybody will consider themselves a celebrity of some sort.
Dude, everyone in Portland considers himself an internet celebrity.
Right,
It's true.
yeah.
They do. They're like, I'm an internet celebrity.
Totally.
Somebody recognized me at the grocery store.
But it's
I'm a
still
social media guru, by the way.
I've
heard. An expert.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So but it still takes that kind of massive machine to make
It does.
true celebrity
It
happen.
does. It really does.
Yeah.
We do not
I
have
mean,
that
just-
massive machine.
I mean, just look at Britney Spears. I mean, she doesn't have any talent, but
No.
you know, she's huge.
Whoa. Hey.
But yeah, okay, I won't pick on her. It's too
Please
easy.
do.
She's a wonderful mother.
Dude.
But
Oh,
but I guess the point is, like, what Tammy's saying is true. Is that you're never going to get rid of
Did
that
he just call
because
me
the machine
Tammy?
will
He
just move
I'm
along.
gonna kick his ass.
Say it again. Cami, it's okay. It happens all the time.
I've never done that.
I
in
don't
my
like
life.
it.
So you were saying? I'm sorry.
I was just saying that the machine is just going to move along, and it's going to go from maybe being on television to whatever the IP version of that is. I mean, if you got a company like Disney pushing you, you're going to do a lot better than if you are trying to do it on your own. I mean, there's going to be a
Wonder
few
why
people who
Disney
can
doesn't
break
like
out
me.
and do something of the level of maybe the Guild, but I don't see anyone that's going to break out and all of a sudden have 1 million viewers.
No. See, I agree. Mm-hmm. Even though you called me Tammy, which is not my name.
I did not call you Tammy.
It sounded like an over
Did I?
Skype. That was the
Well, I
problem.
meant to say Tammy if I said Tammy.
No. It
Thank
sounded
you.
like an over
I
Skype.
accept that. It just sounded like Tammy. I'm just sensitive because Rick called
This
me
is
Tammy
this
last
is
week.
Skype, you know.
I know,
Yeah.
And it
it's
could sound
true.
like it could sound like I'm calling you Rick next thing you know.
Yeah.
I get called Rick a lot more than you might think.
So,
Are you
Yeah,
really
so I
seriously
mean-
playing with my hair clip?
I am. I like hair clips.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ,
where do we
Rick.
end the decade, guys? I mean, I think this is all nice, but I think by 2020,
20?
yes, to make everyone happy.
2020.
By 2020,
2020.
we'll be talking about a lot of different things. I don't think we'll be debating this celebrity issue, or maybe we will. I mean,
I hate celebrities, so maybe we won't
I
be,
know.
but people will. I mean,
I
it's
know.
not dying anytime soon. You go to the hairdresser, and what do you find at the hairdresser? I don't read it because I've got my iPhone to play
Well-
with, but they throw celebrity gossip mags in
so
front of
is
you.
a celebrity somebody like? I mean, because again, I think the VanSunders, using them as an example, David,
Okay.
is you guys have some podcasts and a growing media presence. Is it just that you guys make a living, you support yourselves, you support your family, and you're producing media, you know, and it's all good, and there's a certain following that you have behind that, a certain audience that you have, a certain interaction of friends, and that's it, right?
I think that's probably the best we could hope for.
Right. I mean, what do you guys think? Rick?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what your definition of celebrity is. I mean, it's like I've never.
Do you agree with David's definition that was it that everyone's a celebrity?
Well, I
Or was
think.
Or was that yours?
Yeah, no, I
That
think
was-
I've
that was
I've
right.
mentioned it a couple times that we're rapidly approaching the point in time where technology is so accessible and broadcast media is so accessible that everybody can be a celebrity at some point in time. And
For 15 minutes.
for 15 minutes, or well, it's more like 15 seconds
I know,
now. But the fact of the matter is, it depends on your definition or your need to define a particular market to which you need to be a celebrity. I mean, if you're
That's a lot of double talk, Mr. Marketing Boy.
it's not. I'm saying, like, if you like, for instance, if what is important to you is to be known in Portland, then you have a much different focus on what you do and how you focus your energies than if you want to be known nationwide or if you want to be known worldwide. There are different tacts you take with how you produce content and what kind of content you choose to produce and those kind of things. So I think it all comes down to, everybody has the potential to be a celebrity, but it's very much the own kind of like area they define for that celebrity.
Well,
Much like books, it's the same with books. Like
people read books?
No,
I
long
read
ago.
books.
Long
I read books.
long ago.
I
used to be a literary agent, and there were
Long
some
time
people
ago in a galaxy far, far away.
There were exactly.
He was the Qui-Gon Jinn of literary agents.
Yes, and I was
Well,
killed by.
Qui-Gon Jinn
I was
died.
sliced in half by Darth Maul, and I fell into this big
Marketing
thing.
pit.
Yeah,
You're full
exactly.
of midi-chlorians.
But
Okay,
but I'm full of midi-chlorians that make me
whatever that is.
Jedi-esque. But the fact of the matter is,
Midi-chlorians.
there was there's a lot of
hogwash.
them.
Okay,
What? Oh,
and you were saying,
I'm sorry.
but there were some people, who are very concerned with being with books, who are very into being respected within like the academic community, and no one would ever read them in popular media, but the academic community would love them, and to them that was the celebrity they needed. Or you look at somebody like Malcolm Gladwell, who made the leap from being an academic to more of a popular culture thing, and that was something that was important to him, so he made the leap to that level.
So
of
it's all
celebrity.
about how you want to be known.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
and some people are satisfied just being known, I used to have a professor back in college who was the Walker Percy scholar.
yes.
No one knows who the hell Walker Percy is. A great author. Go out and buy a Walker Percy novel
Go
right
Google
now.
it.
I would suggest either The Moviegoer or Love in the Ruins is by far his best one. Lancelot is a brilliant book, but it's very hard to read. So, but go get that one because it's very short. It's very good. It's all in first person. You'll love it. And he was a Walker Percy scholar, and he was highly respected. And I studied under him, and I learned all the Walker Percy stuff from him. But who the hell knows who Walker Percy is? But that was what he was concerned with, and that was his level of celebrity, and he published in that regard, and that was important to him, and he defined his boundaries for what his level of celebrity was. And so I think that is just happening. At that time, it was publishing papers or publishing books or whatever, and I think that same kind of publication media production is just occurring in different media. Yeah.
So this discussion disturbs me.
Walker Percy is disturbing.
Yes.
I can understand.
No, because we're framing this in the idea of celebrity rather than influence and attention. And
Celebrity is influence and attention. It's the same thing. It is.
No, I think you have a valid point, actually. And that's what concerns me, because there are people like...
He says that like it's the first time you ever had a valid
Have
point.
I never had a valid point before?
Oh,
Lord.
I'm just saying. Just
Hey,
watching
David,
out for my partner
just a
here.
tip to you, never work with your wife.
Oh,
so funny.
Okay, well,
I like that. That was
Too late.
really funny, Dr. Normal. I'm just
Anyway,
going to work with Rick from now on because I can't
nice.
work with my husband.
Good. I like
Thank
that.
God. But the point here is
He's
that
just glad I have a playmate.
it's
That's
like
all.
there's people who are like, we just want to make a living in the media.
I would rather be rich than
And-
famous.
Right, exactly.
Truly.
It's like we just want to make. Did you
care.
start the Silicon Florist to be a local Portland?
He's an attention whore.
Minor
That's
local
why.
Really?
He
celebrity.
started it because Rick is an attention whore.
Yes, no.
But part of what you have to do is you have to drive viewership, and you have to, it's what
So
we do
hard.
here. I don't care.
Right.
I just want to drive viewership, get the content out there, and
Well, again,
make people happy with it.
You're taking me down my...
You want to make people happy? Why do you get so bitchy then?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
you yell a lot
the
for wanting to
bitchier I
make
get,
people happy.
the happier people get.
No,
That's
people don't
true.
get happy. They pay
No,
attention.
no.
There's a difference.
You
Oh,
scare
attention.
me.
There is a difference. People don't get happy when you're bitchy. They pay attention, but they're not happy.
Well,
So
the bitchiness will continue in 2010 with Crazy Talk.
you're kind of taking me down the whole, and we talked
Right.
about, I think we talked about this on Crazy Talk, actually.
Crazy
was
Talk.
was the Robert Johnson versus Led Zeppelin kind of thing, which
Right.
is, Robert Johnson was an amazing musician who sold his soul to the devil and did what he did, and was really good. But it wasn't until Led Zeppelin came along and redid his stuff and sold it to the masses that it became something viable. And you're talking about the same kind of thing, which is, do you do what you enjoy doing for the sake of doing it, or do you find a way to make that something that drives revenue?
It depends on whether or not you want to be insane.
Find a middle ground.
I mean, you can produce all of the beautiful art, writing, podcast, everything that you want to produce, and drive yourself insane with rejection by not trying to actually do anything with it. Well, or you can sell your soul to the devil and do something with it. I mean, there's not a lot of middle ground.
That was a legend, by the way, folks.
What? He didn't really? Oh. Yeah. I heard he met the devil at the crossroads.
Did the devil go down to Georgia?
Yeah.
Was he looking for a soul?
He was looking for his
due,
due,
folks.
Yeah.
Legend.
What? Oh. He was still a really good guitarist, whatever.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, it's like, it's where's your focus? Like, is your... Again, let's take this all the way back to Portland. One of my concerns with Portland is that our concern is with the art and with the expression
we don't want to sell out.
And with the creativity.
Yeah,
and
we want to be true to ourselves.
That is where we find the focus. And there are other people who will come along who will do exactly the same thing Strangelove Live is doing or whatever, who will make it into something that is a business revenue generating thing. But
do you know any of those people?
But won't have the same passion for it that you guys do.
Yeah.
Because you guys are artists.
Those would be my
wait,
you guys
in that regard.
You guys? We are artists in that regard.
Okay.
I told him he had to start referring to it as we and us instead of you guys.
David,
these guys.
What are your plans for 2010?
2010.
No. The chat rooms, you know how bitchy they get. What are your plans for 2010? And, what are you setting your sights on?
2010 is just going to be a time for me to kind of reassess a lot of things, because right now I want to go and do a lot of the media stuff, but right now, like I say, Tali just went back to work because we were trying to do this thing full time pretty much, and that's not working out with the way you have to pay mortgages and all that type of thing. So she's back to work at the moment because as a physical therapist, she can just step in and get a job pretty much any time. And I'm kind of just reassessing some of this stuff and looking into what I want to do in the next month or two. So
I have to ask: is consulting in your future? I mean, as far as you have media experience. Is that part of it?
It's possible. I just thought that since I'm going to be kind of researching what I'm going to be doing now, I might as well just at least get some of my thoughts out there. Maybe it'd just be something, kind of useful, because everyone, when you look for a job, you think that it just ends at the interview, but really they go research you online to see what you've been doing. Mm-hmm. Check out your Facebook pictures of you, drinking, doing crazy stuff.
What?
Let's not think about that with me.
There should be some better stuff out there that they might find randomly, like, my blog, rather than
maybe I need
just
to consider
that
the images.
So it's a resume builder.
Yeah, just a little extra of that. Plus, I always have these things I think, I should just write that down, and I just never do. So I figure, well, I'll just go ahead and I'll write it down, because I enjoy doing that anyway. So as far as consulting, I've done that in the past. I don't know if I'm going to do consulting with media, but I will consider it. We'll say that.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, I think we can wrap up this version of Crazy Talk. We will have David back at some point.
Nice.
Did you actually record this as Crazy Talk?
Yes, of course. I didn't play the music or anything.
I'm not recording.
We might do that though. But anyway, I think we should wrap this up just in general.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
As a producer, I probably let this go 45 minutes too long. No reflection on you, David.
That's fine. I think that puts it to right about before I came on. That's
it's
about
Rick
45
and I.
minutes ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's Rick and I. We're problem children.
Bad talent.
He doesn't like us anymore. I think he's looking to produce other people's podcasts, though. So
yeah, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
As long as Rick and I aren't involved, he'd be happy to do it.
Well, we've had several DMs and
those.
stuff back and forth in the last year about stuff and podcasting, and I've appreciated that. it's always nice to work with other people who are doing the same thing.
Yep, it's been great talking with you guys.
It was great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good to hear your voice, actually, after talking with you on Twitter so much.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Thank you, and we will see you soon. Thank you
Happy
for
New
joining us.
Year.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Tally, and the little one.
I will pass it along since they're both sleeping. They can't keep up with the hours that we keep.
Yeah, I like being awake almost as much as I like to sleep.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Bye.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
I'm taking out my
Well,
headphones,
guys,
so I
with
don't care what
that,
Dr.
I think
Normal
it's
says.
time to wrap
All
things
right,
up.
fine.
I have no idea why we broke into an impromptu crazy talk, but that was fun.
Because you said that we had to keep talking.
No. You left and said, keep talking.
Because
keep
the plan
stream and
was
the
that we were going
podcast
to have
going.
a thing after the thing. Because I said
had
no more
a thing
after
after the
hours.
thing.
I
Let's have
said,
a business meeting now, so we all yell at each other.
Good. Can we get into fight?
The
I
only
like the
person who
fight.
yells
Yeah.
at business meetings is you.
That's not true.
Oh, boy. No, I don't know. We seem very calm and collected. You get all hyped
You
up.
get really hyped up and you yell.
You don't need to see this. You can tune out.
It's unpleasant.
Go away.
It's unpleasant.
I'm
It's
It makes
how-
me
enthusiastic.
uncomfortable.
It
and
is
I'm part
how
of the
Dr.
team.
Normal expresses
Go
his
away.
emotions.
I have vigor for my
If
product.
you don't argue with him, he doesn't believe you're passionate
Exactly.
about
You
it.
have to
Exactly.
fight.
Well,
You have to
great
fight with
close-up.
him.
I'm just saying. That's how he operates.
I'm going to cut that and put that on my Facebook page. That was a wonderful endorsement. If you're not arguing, you're not passionate about it.
Heated discussion is what that guy
Oh,
likes.
bye-bye, Dom.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so I think we say good night, everybody. I guess.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.